If this isn't a world in which I kept on dying and losing all my stuff. And sure enough, I don't have any stuff in this world, so it probably is. Once I irrevocably lose my stuff, if I just lose the will to continue a world. So, let me ask you an important question. What is the name of Mary's father? You know, the mother of the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. What is her father's name? I suspect that certain people might give very different answers. For example, people who adhere following one of the older denominations in their traditions might say that his name is like Joachim or something, and some more people who adhere to other interpretations might say that it's the Eli mentioned in Luke 3:23. I don't know how old that view is. I know the Joachim view is probably like at least 1900 years old or something. So, relative, so almost close to when Mary herself was actually being alive. Here's the question. What if both of these answers are right? So in order to understand what I mean, you'll need to know where these names are thought to have come from. So basically, the name Eli is a plausible shortening of Eliakim, a clipping of that. Now, in ancient Israelite mindset, that a semantic equivalent of Eliakim would be Jehoiakim, replacing the El theophoric element with Yahweh. Oh wait, I actually didn't need to do that. Since El is the general Semitic word for God, and in this late ancient Israelite mindset, Yahweh is, well, the only God that exists. So the honorific prefixes could theoretically be interchangeable with Jehoiakim, with Eliakim becoming Jehoiakim. In fact, there is an example in the Bible of an Eliakim being renamed to Jehoiakim. 2 Kings 23 verse 34. And then the Jehoiakim would just be syncopated to Joachim. The Yeho prefix that indicates Yahweh is very commonly syncopated to just Yo, and this syncope is attested actually quite early in the Hebrew language, as early as the 6th century, as the mid 6th century BC. For example, a certain king of Israel is called Jehoram in what is it called? 2 Kings 3:1. However, he is called Joram when mentioned later in 2 Kings 8:16. That also refers to a contemporaneous king of Judah as Jehoram. So people were already dropping out this like middle syllable and shortening Yeho to Yo as early as over 500 years before Mary was even born. So does that make it plausible? Sure, but there are some things that I have observed. First off, the Greek spelling of Eli is not in Luke 3:23 is not the same as the spelling used for. Wait, where's my screen recording widget? Let me make sure it. Oh, thought you were gone. Or you just cut off. So the Greek spelling of Eli in Genesis 3:23 is not the same as the spelling given in other Greek biblical texts. For example, both Matthew and Luke's genealogy mention an Eliakim, and there is also an Eliakim in the Septuagint, and in both cases it is spelled something like epsilon, lambda, iota, aleph, kappa, something like epsilon, iota, noon. Noon. Is there treasure here? Not really. Though there is a treasure map. And... uh-oh. I need to get out of here. And the verses in question are... Let me see, I could probably just open up my Greek New Testament that I happen to have on hand. Oh look, another possibly treacherous structure. Or is that the same thing I just came from? I can't check because I'm almost out of air. Now, watch while I bob for air and... So the verse in Matthew is chapter 1, verse... Okay, and the drowned just shot me. Well, it's not that big a deal since the only thing I got was wood. Wait, where did I die? Anyway, the verse in the... what is it called? Matthew is chapter 1, verse 14. And... no, chapter 1, verse 13. And in the physical Greek New Testament that I have on hand in front of me is spelled Eliakim. That is epsilon, lambda, iota, alpha, kappa, what is it called? And iota, mu. And in Luke, the verse is... and it's nighttime. But I have nothing to lose, since I literally have nothing. Yeah, it's... chapter 3, verse 30. And since I can't do anything at night and I want to be able to do something for the rest of this video, I'm going to create a new world. So both of those, both Matthew and Luke it's 3:30, and both of them spelled the same, Eliakim. However, Luke 3:23, this is like really green. Spell Eli as Eli. That is Eta, lambda, and what's it called? And iota. So we see that the first vowel is different. Eta versus epsilon. And what else is there? And some New Testament manuscripts apparently include a rough breathing before the eta, making it hail. But from what I've seen on Bible Hub, there's also a lot that don't. So I guess that isn't that big of a point. And there are also some manuscripts that spell the final vowel in Eli as an epsilon iota diphthong, and not just an iota as an Eliakim. But that is basically a complete non-issue since it's just And it's the epsilon iota diphthong in this point in the history of the Greek language was either already merged with or soon to merge with just a normal iota. And from what I can see, Bible Hub presents more Greek New Testament variants that don't spell it into epsilon iota than those that do. It provides like 9 different Greek New Testament variants, and of them, about 5 or about 6 say, "Oh, that thing is burning. Why did it even spawn?" About 6 use and Barrett iota, and 4 use an epsilon iota diphthong. Yes, one kind of does both. Oh, there are melons here. This is actually quite a good spawn. I've heard that pumpkins are rarer than diamonds. Is that stone or gravel? Good stone. So I can essentially be promoted within just a couple minutes of starting this world. So I think the idea of Eli and Joachim being like 2 different name variants for the same person in a way that allows the Mary-centric interpretation of Luke's genealogy and traditional Catholic tradition historical Catholic tradition on the identity of Mary's father as both being right. It is theoretically feasible, but there are some small hiccups. I think the most major hiccup is that first vowel, epsilon, and what is it called? Eta. Also, I've read like this classical Syriac Aramaic translation of Luke's genealogy. Well, actually, I didn't read it. I just went hunting for Eli's name, and it spelled it with an initial hey. Hey, the Syriac Aramaic letter hey, which makes a h sound. Now that could probably just be translated from a Greek manuscript that happened to have rough breathing when a lot don't. That is possible. I don't think the rough breathing itself is that big of a hiccup, and I think since there are also wait, do I already have that? Since there are also apparently a great deal of manuscripts that don't have a rough breath here. Copper. What are you useful for again? What's the recipe for a campfire? And I'm going to... And the different and second vowels, different second syllable vowels, I think is a complete non-issue at all. Anyway, that is all for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow. Dark Blade out as soon as I reach that cave. Those emeralds, no, that's just vine-covered stone.